First one, two questions for you, man. Just wanted to know, in your opinion, a win over Terrence, does that make Errol Spence a no doubt Hall of Famer, man?
I don't know. I mean, Hall of Fame is what it is. I don't, I really don't too much care about the Hall of Fame.
Obviously, you're a guy that always wanted to like fight the best people out there. Even if you're on a layoff, always want to fight the best guys. We got a guy in Jerron Ennis right now who's killing everybody. Floyd is praising him, Roy Jones, everybody really. Like, would a part of you, and not looking past Terrence, but would a part of you be like, yo, this kid is good. I gotta fight this kid.
Yeah, nah, he nice as hell, but you know, I'm at the point in my career, the money right, I'll fight anybody, so I ain't tripping.
Before the fight got made, you were always just on some, look, I don't need him. I don't need this fight. I guess frustrated or whatever. But now that the fight is here, can you look back and say, nah, I was wrong. I really did need Errol. I did need this fight. This is the biggest fight in like the past 30 years or something like that.
Well, I wouldn't say Errol is my biggest dance partner, like you said, yes. So being the magnitude of this fight, the stage of this fight, the level, everything, yes, I need it. Everything that's surrounding this fight and that's on the line with this one fight, yes, I needed Errol. But far as career-wise, legacy-wise, I didn't need Errol because I already accomplished so much in the sport of boxing that I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame and ride in the sunset and be comfortable with what I've accomplished in the sport of boxing, because there's nothing that I haven't accomplished in the sport of boxing that would hinder me from saying, oh man, dang, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have did that. I already became undisputed. I already won ESPY award. I already was fighter of the year. I was already multiple world champions in different weight classes. I was already two-time linear fighter in two different weight classes. So, this is, like I said, this is just a cherry on top of my ice cream.
Gotcha. And my next question for you is, you're the type of guy that, when you're at 35, 40, and now 47, you were always either looking at who's the top guy here that I haven't fought yet, or who's like a guy that's like under me or making his way up, like, damn, this dude could fight. So we got Jerron Ennis, man. And I know you're focused on Errol Spence, but it's like every time Jerron fights, this dude is just whooping everybody, and Floyd has praised him. Leonard Ellaby has praised him. Roy Jones has praised him. You're focused completely on Errol. But do you look at Jerron and say, yo, look, man, I gotta fight this dude. He fighting his ass off. Everybody praising him. That's a dude I need to fight maybe after the rematch.
I always said Boots was a great talent. I always told everybody that I supported them. I've been supporting him since he was in the amateurs when he was fighting Gary Russell. I always supported him because they always said he remind them so much of me. But seeing him, I kind of see myself in him. And yes, he deserved a title shot. He deserved it all, but his time will come. But right now, business is business.
You're doing well. I appreciate you taking the time, and kind of, it's interesting you mentioned the sanctioning bodies, because I was going to ask about that. Obviously in that presser, there was a lot of, I guess in the first one you talked about the 3% fees and all that stuff. And over the years, there's been a lot of conversation about, should there be one national federally regulated sanctioning body? What would your thoughts be on that? Do you feel like there would be a lot of support is, instead of having maybe 4 sanctioning bodies, having one that's federally regulated that kind of runs and oversees the sport?
I mean, I'm not worried about it being, three sanctioned bodies, 4 sanctioned bodies, but it's just a lot. Like all these junior titles, and they make the secondary belts and and just make intern builds. And you just got a lot of bills and people paying fees on it too. So it's just, I feel like it's too many bills in boxing. It's basically watered it down because people winning world titles and they're not earning none of the world titles. So I feel like it's just been watering down boxing and just, just made it. I mean, if everybody can get a title, you get a title easy. You be with the right promoter and get a title, and that's. I feel like that's not right. 'Cause you got guys who really work hard and been fighting the best competition. It doesn't need to be in secondary belts. You got to make these guys, fight each other, just like me and Terrence doing, and the other guys too. So I don't know. I'm not gonna really speak on the bills to after my fight. That's all I'm focused on right now. But it is a discussion that need to be talked about. I get you got retired fighters talking about it, but it's gonna be more on the fighters that active now to talk about it and to make a change because everybody need to be held accountable, not just the boxers need to be held accountable. The promoters need to be held accountable, the managers need to be held accountable, and the sanctioning bodies need to be held accountable too.
Why do you think that he has tried to diminish your win against Sean Porter in the way that he has? And what is your retort to that?
Well, you got to understand, a lot of fighters and a lot of people have been doing that to Terence Crawford for a long time now. So it's nothing new. That's kind of like a seesaw effect. They see one person discredit me for one fighter, and then they see another person, and then that's just the thing to do. And then now you hear a lot of people on the media saying, "Oh, well, Crawford ain't fought nobody. Crawford ain't fought nobody." That's the narrative now. If you look at the comments or anything that's posted on Instagram or on Twitter, they all say the same thing. "Oh, Crawford ain't fought nobody." So I'm used to it, and I just laugh because there's always an excuse after an L.
Errol, do you like coming in, let's say, as an underdog? You look at it, this is a 50-50 fight. But if you go to Vegas, they have Bud Crawford as a slight favorite. They have a lot of people have Bud Crawford as #1 pound for pound. But when I look at the resumes, it's like, wait a minute, if I'm not mistaken, Errol Spence Jr. is the unified champion. He's got 3 of the belts. He's unbeaten as well. Do you like when you come into situations like this as the underdog? And maybe it's because of everything that you've been through in your past.
Oh, nah, I don't even think about it. I mean, you guys remind me more than more than myself. I don't think about it at all. That's not, what I'm focused on. It really doesn't matter. It's just like when you watch even Floyd's career, that every time he accomplished something, they move the goalposts. So I feel once I beat Terence Crawford, he's gonna be somebody and make some type of, they're gonna move the goalposts again and say I've been away class too long or to wait, but I might be a big welterweight, but I never missed a weight, never missed a weigh-in, never miss weight off 0.1, none of that. Always at the weight or under. So
I say we respect each other. We haven't been around each other to hang out with each other, party with each other. So I just think it's a mutual respect for one another.
How well, because you guys had these phone calls with each other and such, how much better did you get to know him in that way that you probably had never done with any other opponent?
Well, like it's the same, we had the phone calls that we had that make the biggest fight in boxing to date made, and that's what we did. We both understood the assignment. We both had the same goal and dreams in mind, and we just came together and made sure that we both was man enough and mature enough to get the fight made.
Terrence, I know you said you want to focus on the first fight and not the rematch, but if you beat him in the way that I'm sure you feel that you will, either decisively by decision or stoppage, do you feel that he will want a rematch based on the way that you think you're going to beat him?
Well, that's on him. Like I said, that wouldn't have nothing to do with me. Uh, that would be something that have to do with him. Like I said, like I'm going in July 29th, 100% focused mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and ready to win the first fight. I'm not thinking about uh, a rematch or second fight or any of that at this point in time.
Look at this fight. What do you think it'll come down to? I mean, you're both highly skilled, both punchers, both will knock you out. When it comes into the ring, what do you think this fight basically is going to boil down to?
Well, I think it's gonna boil down to grit, nation, focus, see who body and mind can, stand not only the most punishment, but and going through different highs and lows in the fight. Because I believe in the fight is gonna be, highs and lows, pick it up, and then I might pick it up. We both might pick it up in a fight. And I feel like whoever can, adapt or whoever can impose their style on that opponent, that's who's gonna win the fight.
How concerned are you about the size difference? I've got one more question after this, but the size difference, there's gonna be a lot of conversation about how big Errol usually is, the fact he can still make 147. You were undisputed at 140. How have you kind of managed that, prepared for what that difference might look like on fight night?
I don't worry about it. Listen, when you talk about size, you talk about Jeff Horn. They said Jeff Horn was one of the biggest welterweights, other than Spence. When you talk about size, you talk about Sean Porter. Me and Sean Porter was in the amateurs together. I was at 132, he was at 165. Benavidez, he was a big welterweight. I don't know. Like, I'm always fighting big welterweights, so that's nothing new. I'm always the smaller guy. Even when I was at 140, I was a smaller guy. 35, was tall, but I was the smaller guy. So being a smaller guy, never made me think, oh man, this guy is too big or no. It's cool. The bigger they is, the harder they fall.
Those who say, man, Bud Crawford's so athletic, switches, has rangy power. If he hurts you, he takes you out. I think that might be too much. Your response to that?
It's been athletic fighters way more gifted than him. They've been before in boxing. So, like I said, that doesn't matter to me at all. I done beat, gifted athletes, and I done seen gifted athletes get beat too. They can say what I know my capabilities. I know how I fight. I know my mindset when I go in the ring. And I feel like I can beat any fighter. It doesn't matter if they're athletic. It don't matter nothing. It don't matter about the skill set, whatever it is. I feel like I can adjust, or my style is just gonna impose on them so much that it might break them.
How much juice, how much energy is in this fight camp that you have? Because man, you've got one of the biggest fights on this planet coming up. One of your training partners now all of a sudden has a fight with Canelo coming up. Anthony Joshua's in camp. He's now got a fight coming up. How much juice is now in this Derrick James, Errol Spence stable? And Frank Martin's got a fight coming up.
Yeah, Frank Martin fights this week. WC title. Make sure you tune in on Showtime.
I like it.
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, we all kind of push each other, even just indirectly, because we sparring, and Anthony Joshua might walk in the gym, or Frank might walk in the gym with days before, and I might walk in the gym and, we watching each other work. And just naturally, you're gonna either try to work a little bit harder, or, you're gonna be, really working because another top fighter is watching you and trying to, see how you work. And you don't want to be, coined as lazy or, a guy that don't train hard. So you're gonna put the work in. So it's great just being in there with those guys, just feeding off each other, talking to each other. And it's great. But Derek does a great job of, giving us all a time slot. So we not, sometimes we do be in the gym together, but a lot of times, I get my time, Anthony gets time, Frankie gets time. It's not just bunched in, we're all just in the gym together. So he makes sure that everybody gets their time because everybody has an important fight.
But if you win this fight, you will be the first male boxer anyway of the 4-belt era to be undisputed in 2 different weight classes. That's a big deal, it seems to me. And I wonder, when you think about that in relation to all the other accomplishments that you've had, and you mentioned fighter of the year and, multiple division champion, lineal champions, all that business, where do you think being the first ever guy to do that, meaning win all 4 belts, be undisputed in 2 weight classes, where would you rank that on your list of, many, many accomplishments in your career?
Man, it'll be up there. It'll be up there. It'll be top 3 for sure. Like I said, I don't think nothing is gonna outdo the accomplishment that I accomplished by winning my first title in Scotland against Ricky Burns. I think that still is gonna hold a big spot, a big #1 spot in my heart. Yeah, but this is gonna be a great fight, and it's gonna be a great feeling walking away with all those belts and becoming the first male boxer in the 4-belt era to actually win all 4 titles in 2 different divisions back to back. I feel like I started this trend of these fighters want to become undisputed. If you look, before I became undisputed, look what Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor, that was way back then, so that was a great accomplishment. But now you see it more frequently, you see it happening more often, and that's a great thing. And I think it's going to lead to a lot of fights being made and a lot of fighters challenging themselves and daring themselves to be great, to try to accomplish the same thing.
Fury Francis Ngannou fight was announced. Does that a fight like that do more to help or hurt boxing, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't know. It's an individual thing. It's definitely gonna fatten his pockets and Francis' pockets too. So I feel like that's more of a money play than anything. That's like Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. So that's more of a money play. So hey, kudos to them for getting the fight done. And I think the belts, I don't know, the belts, the people who make a lot of the rules sanction it. The WC did, so they fighting each other. So hey.
Hey, what's up, TC? Thank you for your time, man. Marcus Hayes with Fight Hub.
So,
Terence, with all that's been said and assumed by the fans and the pundits alike about you potentially having ducked Errol Spence Jr., what part of this are you looking forward to the most, if you had to pick?
I'm just looking for the fight, looking towards the fight. Like, I pretty much don't entertain the people that say foolishness, things like that. Crawford ducking Spence, or Spence ducking Crawford, and things like that. I don't pay attention to things like that, because I've been fighting since I was 7 years old and I ain't ducked nobody. Errol Spence been fighting all his life, and I'm pretty sure he haven't ducked anyone either. When you coming up in the amateurs, you fighting the best of the best for free, fighting everybody, so this is what we do. This is what, we love to do. This is how we feed our family. So it wasn't in a case of just sign a contract or you ducking. When the business was right, then you got to fight.
You guys have been largely friendly during the promotion when you guys see each other. How far out of the window does that go on fight night, Terence?
Oh, we definitely ain't friends on a fight night. Like that's ludicrous. I was friends with Sean Porter, and you see how that fight went. I was friends with Ray Beltran. You see how that fight went. I was cool with a lot of fighters, respectful to the fighters that's respectful to me. But at the same time, when the bell ring, ain't no friends in the ring. You trying to knock me out, I'm trying to knock you out. One small blow in the wrong spot can end my life. That's how I look at it. So you trying to end my life, we're not friends.
I wanted to ask, you've been undisputed before at 140 pounds. Does being undisputed in this weight class mean more, just given the history of it? Just, thinking about who's been champion in this weight class throughout history.
I wouldn't say it means more in that sense, but I would say it means more for who I'm becoming undisputed against. When you look at Errol, he's considered top 5 pound for pound on a pound for pound list. He's a fighter that being dominant in his career. He's a fighter that's being considered one of the best opponents that I have faced, if not the best. So there's a lot on this on this pound for pound list that you can say was different with Ndongo. Ndongo, yes, Ndongo had 3 titles, back to back to back. Errol had 3 titles, so we don't consider the IBF, as much as the other 4 titles, but no, the IBO, I would say. We don't consider the IBO title as much as we considered the other 4, but Ndongo, he went to 2 countries and did what he did to those champions, and then dared to be great to come to his 3rd consecutive country and fight me. I felt as if that was big, especially the Ricky Burns fight, then knocking out Troy Noski. But then you look at it and you say, oh, well, Ndongo wasn't nothing, but you go to Errol, and then he fought the guys that he fought, and he accomplished what he accomplished. But the magnitude of this fight is on 2 whole totally different levels. So I would say, yes, this undisputed fight is bigger in the sense of what's all on the line for me and what's on the line for him as well. To be honest, training camp has been going great, and there's nothing changed. We real firm believers in, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we've been doing the same thing. Well, like I've been saying, this fight right here just put a stamp on everything that I've accomplished in the sport of boxing. A lot of people been discredit me and for my opponents and when I fought them and how I performed and this and that and that and this. And a lot of people been calling for the Errol Spence, Terence Crawford fight. So I think this fight is just put a stamp on everything. And this fight is what boxing needs. There's been a lot of fights in the history of boxing that didn't come to fruition, that a lot of fans was calling for years, and for whatever reason, those fights wasn't able to get made, but this was a fight that was able to get made, and it's happening at the right time, and the fans is going to enjoy a great fight come July 29th.
I said, you know, and I told him, I said, Errol, I don't know if you've ever faced anyone as athletic who switches like Bud Crawford, has knockout power like Bud Crawford. In your opinion, champ, this fight will boil down to what?
I would think this fight will boil down to who prepared the best, and on fight night, who's on a A+ game. That's what it's going to boil down to. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not focusing on a rematch. I plan to win the first match. So the rematch is not even in my mind right now. I'm more so focused on the job at hand right now.
Yeah. Tripped out that he knew that you didn't like hot sauce?
No. So it caught me off guard, and I'm like, how you know I don't like hot sauce? You know what I mean? And then a lot of my peoples, they was like, man, you said that in the interview. You said that. You know what I mean? He must have heard you say it. And I was like, oh, all right. Because I was like, man, he got a mole. And
Right.
I was like, man, how this dude know I don't like hot sauce? I assure you that each and every one of you will see fireworks. Like he said, come out, support the event, buy it on Showtime pay-per-view if you can't make it there in person. But you might want to do both so you can see it in person, then see it when you go home. Because like I said before, I'm gonna gut them, I'm gonna fillet them, I'm gonna take them out the water, and I'm gonna suffocate them.